Interest rates are still printing money, $5 trillion in new money to be exact. You might have noticed that all of this doesn't add up. It's like those plates spinning on top of those sticks. When they stop, it all comes crashing down, right? You need to keep your cash safe, not crashing down. Using precious metals is a well-proven way to do this. In a gold or silver IRA or 401k rollover, you even get tax breaks while you bomb-proof your money. To find out how you can do this, you need to talk to one of Noble Gold's experts, not a call center or a salesman, a professional who will run through your options with you. This month, Noble Gold are giving away a free 1/10-ounce solid gold American Eagle coin with any qualifying plan you start. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com or call us at 877-646-5347. Investing involves no guarantee of future results.
When Optima Tax got involved, the calls would stop, the threats would stop. It was easy like, 1, 2, 3.
Optima Tax Relief is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and their team of expert tax professionals took care of Eric's problem.
I owe $15,000, and now my debt is clean. I don't owe anything.
Take Eric's advice.
If you have a tax problem, you need to call Optima Tax now.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-845-8122. 800-845-8122. 800-845-8122.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hernia repair surgery is common and requires a mesh product to be implanted inside your body. In May of 2016, the manufacturer of a popular hernia mesh product issued a mandatory global recall due to product defects. If you've had hernia surgery and have experienced complications, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Call the Hernia Mesh Helpline now at 800-797-9943. Our experienced attorneys will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. You pay nothing unless we get a recovery in your favor. Time is limited to file a claim, so call the Hernia Mesh Helpline now. 800-797-9943. Operators are standing by 24/7. Call 800-797-9943. That's 800-797-9943. Interest rates because of a low credit score? Bad credit happens to good people. In fact, millions of Americans are victims of incorrect or unfair items on their credit report without even knowing. But don't worry, because the Credit Repair Helpline is here for you. We'll communicate with creditors and the credit bureaus on your behalf to address unfairly reported items like late payments, collections, charge-offs, and even bankruptcies, which can lead to a higher credit score. Our proven process has helped hundreds of thousands of people just like you see meaningful improvements to their credit profile. Working to repair your credit today can help you get the new car, new home, or new job you've always wanted. Call 800-368-4857 now and get your free credit score. Call 800-368-4857 to start working to restore your credit. The call is free and the credit evaluation is free. So call 800-368-4857. That's 800-368-4857. Start building your credit today.
Yes, I said get paid to work out. Now you can with ISSA, the global leader in personal fitness certification. If you're interested in a money-making career in fitness as a personal trainer, now is your time because ISSA is guaranteeing you will get a job. That's right. There's a huge demand for certified personal trainers right now. So once you get ISSA certified, they guarantee you will get a job. Just text FORM to 323232 now to get started for free. You do everything at your own pace and 100% online. Live your life on your terms. Get certified and train like you want, full-time, at a gym, at home, or as a side hustle. Whatever works for you. Don't wait another day to start your career in fitness. Get certified and start making money fast, guaranteed. Just text FORM to 323232 right now to get started with your ISSA certification for free. Text the word FORM to 323232.
Try Vicks Pure Z's Kids Gummies. They're drug-free, non-habit-forming, and specially formulated for kids with a low dose of melatonin to help them fall asleep naturally. Try Pure Z's Kids Gummies tonight. Consult with the doctor before use for ages 4 and up.
Music is normal. Our worries have not disappeared, but evolved. CalHope offers free COVID-19 emotional support. Call 1-833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
The benefit to working with a company that has in-house underwriting compared to working with somebody that does not is the decisions are made by us. Other companies have to send your file off, an underwriter will approve it or not approve it, and they might have what we call overlays, meaning things that they won't allow a loan officer to do on your file. We're at Catalyst. We follow underwriting guidelines to the T, and we can close your loan in as little as 15 to 21 days. Call Catalyst Mortgage at 916-287-7777.
Big Tires. Right now, come in and save $100 instantly on select sets of 4 tires from Henco, Toyo, Continental, Nitto, General, Pirelli, Goodyear, and Nexen. Big O Tires. Installation charges extra. Required on all 4 tires. Disposal fees extra and up to 10% shop fee based on non-discounted regular retail price, not to exceed $35 where permitted. Not valid with other offers. Valid at participating locations. Expires 1/30/2022.
Is when you can create your own pizza at Biology Pizzeria with over 40 toppings, afterbakes, and sauces. Or try the new part pizza, part burrito, 100% portable handheld pyrito that can be enjoyed anywhere. Guests can choose from 4 signature options, including barbecue chicken and veggie pesto, all placed in our original thin crust to make a delicious handheld product. We then bake it until melty and perfectly closed, so you can take your pizza on the go. Visit biology.com to find a location near you.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Charlton of Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. For the people who love sports, it's all fair and not a war. I want to say today is a beautiful January the 10th, 2022. Pronto deportes, bonjour, this bitty biche. I'm learning new languages, as you know, in 2010. I want to say welcome to the show. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by a test drive yours, tell them Charlton of Big C Sports sent you all fair and level world, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars all around the world. You can follow Big C Sports on 20 podcast applications from Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker, Apple Podcasts, iHeart-Radio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, and then also Pod Chaser. Give me some praise for even getting that far. I said give me some praise. Come on, producer, wake up. I know it's Monday. It's all just another manic Monday. I'm trying to sing everything, all the songs that get you through a Monday. It's a good Monday. Want to also say you can follow Big C Sports Podcast on Geo Saban Podcast, out of London, England, Podtail Podcast, YouTube Podcast, Hubhopper Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line Podcast, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, and also Podcast Wise. Give that some praise. You gotta be wise nowadays. Want to follow Big C Sports Podcast? Be wise with everything that people tell you. Oh, that'll work. You can Google it. Also follow Big C Sports Podcast on 4 TV applications. For Big C Sports Podcast, you can follow Big C Sports on TV, streaming live on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. Give that some praise. What a great Monday. All fair and love and war. I want to say there's a lot of national championship fans from North Dakota State. The Bison knocked off Montana State 38-10 over the weekend down in Frisco, Texas in the FCS championship. And tonight you have Alabama and Georgia Part 2 playing up in Indianapolis. What a way to make the fans travel to the cold. They go from the south, where the weather can be chilly, but not as bad as it is up in the Midwest. But they're taking them out of Georgia, out of Athens, Georgia, and Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to make them go way up to Indiana to play in the stadium for the Indianapolis Colts to play the national championship. You would think that someday, they could say, we've already paid for the sponsorship, but do what the NFL does. You want to put it where the players are, the teams are, where the fans are. Other than the Super Bowl, every team gets to host a game, or at least they'll have it in the region. But this is not professional football. These are college kids and their families, for the most part, unless they have the money to get on an airplane or drive through the snow to go up to Indianapolis. That's about a good 1,500 to 2,000 mile drive coming from Alabama and Georgia just to go up to Indianapolis. Had they played this game down in Georgia or even New Orleans, it would have been more fan-friendly. But maybe I'm thinking more like what's important for fan-friendly. Give it up for fan-friendly. I said give it up for fan-friendly. They say, who cares about the fans? We already paid for the dome. All's fair and level war. I love paying homage to my family legacy for a beautiful 2022. On my mother's side, the matriarch of the family, Grandma, we call her Mamo, the great-grandmother Mamo, just a wonderful person, make sure everybody stuck together through thick and thin. And then my great-grandfather, Pops, He was also a former Negro League baseball player known for making the best moonshine in the history of the universe. It said, boys, get out of that barn. Don't want lightning to strike you. What a great day thinking about those things. And my beautiful grandmother, Mud Deer, she was actually just a wonderful person and a seer, to see things in people and tell you all about them. And my grandfather, Hezekiah, I really do appreciate that. My beautiful mother helped start a Head Start program and a food program, and also helped in Northern California and helped win the Little League Championship of the universe. Give mama some praise. A Head Start program and a food program to make sure that kids can eat and live the Little League Championship of the universe. Really do appreciate that. On my father's side, the patriarch of the family, Albert Curry, former pastor, had 2 churches in Oakland, California, built a 3rd one in Central California, also had 2 service stations in Northern California, in Oakland, and then just a very, very smart businessman. And then my grandmother, Alberta Curry, helping my grandfather with the service stations and also with the churches, making sure everything was great with that. My father, retired Air Force fighter pilot, made sure that planes could fly high so we could all stay safe at night. Also, chief mechanic, saying develop your mind to its highest extent. You could always grow more. My beautiful brother, Todd, with his bombastic voice, sound like lightning. Thunder and lightning. When Todd was speaking, I want to thank my son, Malcolm, who is a college student, a sophomore in college, just a very intelligent young man, very intelligent, handsome, gives me NBA information all over the NBA, knows it inside and out. Really appreciate what he's done with Big C Sports over the years. And my beautiful daughter, Daisy, college graduated double degrees in 3.5 years. Really do appreciate everything she would do, helping me coaches come to the West Coast, helping me set up for them with Big C Sports. And then Big C, with all of his wealth and knowledge in the past, give it all some praise. I said, give it all praise, praise, praise. As I say, welcome to the show. All fair, love, and war. You know what I love also saying? It's funny for me because my great-grandfather used to do it. Let's get ready to rumble! He would always do that as he got the moonshine ready for his friends in the church. Big C Sports ESPY nominated. No scripts, no 3-way producers, no producer in my ear. I do the show, I produce the show with my higher self. I produce the show, I direct the topics. I broadcast the shows. I do the sound effects based on what's provided by the agency. Everybody needs more sound effects in their life, if that makes sense to you. I do the storytelling, and then the sound effects I've done, of course, the commercials provided by the agency in New York. And then I do what the Golden State Warriors fan heard at Chase Center. Klay Thompson 4-3 on fair level war. Came back and dropped 17 points. Also had a thunderous dunk that brought the crowd to their feet. Hadn't played in over 2 years. Isn't that something? The science of technology and medicine can help people get better faster. Then I upload the show, goes out to the platform, which reaches out to 20 podcast applications all over the world with Big C Sports Podcast. And then I never missed a show since starting Big C Sports September 12, 2015. Always doing the show or posting information. And then I really do appreciate that. One of the verses that I really love from the Bible with Big C Sports is Genesis 13:15. It says, "For all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever." And the book of James chapter 4 verse 2 said, "Ye have not because ye ask not." If you want something, just ask. You gotta ask. Really do appreciate my pastor walking up to me. He said, Ephesians 3:20, that God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all you could ask or think. And Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. He said, God is blessing Big C Sports. Isn't that something? Didn't even ask him, but he said it. Really do appreciate that, Pastor, over the weekend. We could all use more blessings in life. I want to make sure that we give blessings for our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. I know everybody wants to cheer. Who won the game? Did you see the 49ers game? What a game that was also. Bang, bang, Niner game going into SoFi Center in Los Angeles and saying, we're going to make this Levi South. They had as many fans making noise as the LA Rams did. Isn't that something? Also down in Las Vegas, where the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers had just a great football game that went right down to the last kick. Games going into overtime. Just amazing how football is. For our veterans, they need someone to go to overtime for them too. And they have that. With the Veterans Crisis Hotline, they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know any veterans going through issues, pick up the phone and help them get some help. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net and give them some praise. I said, give our veterans some praise. Everybody needs a first responder, especially this Omicron virus that's cropping up. Some people still don't want to get a vaccine because they think science is not real until their butts get in trouble. Then they need someone calling 911. Isn't that something? I also want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3. God said, let there be light. Open your cell phone to say play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see our app pop up all over the world, and I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. There's a lot of good things happening in the world of Big C Sports Podcast. I also want to say, really happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly, a national real estate show that features properties in Northern California, North and Central California. Also, in your neck of the woods, if you want to know what's going on in real estate, go to the nationalrealestatepost.com. That's the nationalrealestatepost.com, and you can find out what's going on with real estate in your neck of the woods. Also, if you want to find out more of what's going on with mortgage rates all over the country, go to mortgagedailynews.com. That's mortgagedailynews.com, and you can definitely find out what's going on in the world of mortgages. For those of you out there in business, really happy to affiliate it with lending sources. Over 240 lenders waiting to fund you between $10,000 and $400,000, and funding can be used for any purpose: business startups, real estate investments, repairs and renovations, working capital, down payment assistance, investment in the stock market, debt consolidation, and then student loans. And I hope the Biden administration will eliminate student loans for kids who are in college. It's a terrible thing to waste, but so is being in debt up to your ears. So the minimum requirements for 240 lenders is 650 credit score, $27,000 annual income, no new lines of credit in the last 6 months, and 2 years of consistent income. If you have any more information about that, just reach out to the Big C team. When the bank say no, get a second opinion with Big C. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And give that some praise. Like I said, give that some praise when you need funding. All over the United States with the Big C team. Over 240 lenders waiting to fund you. Also, for you guys that are betting, for the people that want to bet on the game, and the big game tonight, obviously, is with Alabama taking on Georgia. Alabama won the first game 41-24. In fact, they were down 10-0 when they played in the SEC Championship, and they outscored them 41-14. So how do you go from being down 10-0 in the first quarter, you come back and you outscore your opponent by 41-14, and you're the underdog? Only in Vegas. What did Don King say? Only in America. Only in America. Think about that. They were down 10-0 in the first game, the SEC Championship. Came back and outscored Georgia 41-14. The game ended up being 41-24. In fact, Georgia got a late score. You can throw on Georgia defense. Alabama knows that. Bryce Young knows that. So based on if they do what they know, my money is going to Alabama, even though I don't bet on games. Georgia's a good defense, but if you make them run around the defensive line, then they get tired. I saw that against Tennessee, but Tennessee didn't understand it. Alabama did. When they figured it out, make those big guys run around, and they get a little tired at the line of scrimmage. Alabama has been able to study Georgia the same way Georgia's been able to study Alabama. But unless there's some shenanigans that go on, and shenanigans can happen, in shenanigans in sports, if you're up 10-0, and at the end of the game you end up with 24 points, but you get outscored from up 10-0, 41-14. How is Alabama an underdog? I was like, what in the world? But if Las Vegas makes money on doing things, now who knows what they have planned for the night? But if you beat someone 41-14, it was really 41-17, and Georgia got a late score. But 41-14 after being down 10-0, how does Vegas say, oh, these guys are a 2.5-point favorite? That's a better special. Nick Saban hasn't forgotten how to coach. Unless there's some shenanigans going on tonight, I think Alabama and Georgia, maybe they read each other well. But how do you if my math is right, 41 points is a lot of points to give up by a defense. How does Georgia's defense improve based on giving up 41 points? When I think the most they had given up all season was like 17. And that was primarily in 3 quarters. So what is Vegas feeling right now? If they say, Alabama's the favorite by 5 points, I really do feel that Alabama's going to win by maybe 35-24. Let's just say they're not going to be down 10-0 tonight. I mean, I'm got the game going. I haven't even watched the game. I know it's already underway. And who knows? May the best team win. It's an all SEC championship. I just feel bad for the fans. They got to travel way up to the north, the Midwest, to play at Indiana for a game where they could be an hour's a couple hours drive away from either Atlanta or New Orleans. But the college football changing is good. They haven't changed that. But I wish the best for Alabama and Georgia. May the best team win, all fair in love and war. I say, may the best team win, all fair in love and war. It's all fair in love and war. Speaking about being all fair in love and war, what a great way for football. And also I want to just give North Dakota State some praise too. They knocked off Montana State in the FCS Championship Division, formerly Division I AA Championship. Got that done. And what a treat it was for North Dakota State, the Bison, 38-10. That's their 9th FCS championship that they've had in the universe. The 9th FCS championship. That team, give us some praise. The North Dakota State Bison, they can probably play. They remind me of Boise State 15 years ago when they were knocking people over the head. The little engine that could. That's a team that could play up because you win 9 FCS championships, and I'm saying why move up? Because the competition's better, but also it's a different breed of competition if they get in to Division I. They probably want to stay right where they are, the king of the mountain, but just a great program, 38-10 win over Montana State. And when you think about those programs, and football is amazing. No matter what you feel about football, it's all about how you match up with your opponents. And so they've done a great job matching up with their opponents. And I love the fact that we have so much football. Now the FCS, they start with 24 teams, and they were able to get down to the final 2 that played in Frisco, Texas. And for so many people, they feel like Division I has a hard time doing it. Like, how do we figure it out? Like, open our eyes and look at what the FCS has done. Not only have they managed to get more schools involved, they regionalize it so more people can see what's going on in the rankings, and they can see what's going on in their neck of the woods. To me, that's what makes football exciting. That's why I feel if you do the same thing at the Division I level, why would we not have more excitement? Everybody would be excited. And then, unlike what they're doing for the game tonight, you would have more teams being able to play their regional games in their backyard, and fans wouldn't have to travel like Alabama and Georgia's having to travel up to Indianapolis tonight. So that's what I think. Just open your eyes and follow what the FCS is doing. I want to just round out some of the top 10 teams in the FCS. North Dakota State, they finished 14-1, 7-1 in the Missouri Valley Conference, and they matched their largest win in the FCS title game with 380 rushing yards by Hunter Lupski, his 3-touchdown run. Matt Ertz also been a part of the coaching staff for 6 of those championships. When you think about this team, they're a very good team. They outscored the FCS opponents by 372 points, 549 to 177 this season. So they're a great team. Now, James Madison, they're actually going up to another level. They finished 12-2, 7-1 in the CAA. The preseason number 1 is the only program to beat North Dakota State at the Fargo Dome in the FCS playoffs 27-17, and that was in 2016. But they failed to do it again in the semifinals. They fell 20-14, all fair in love and war. Number 3 in the FCS, Montana State. They were 12-3, 7-1 in the Big Sky Conference under their first-year head coach Brent Vigen. And they also defending champion and number 1 seed Sam Houston, 42-19 in the quarterfinals. Number 4, South Dakota State. Some good football being played up in the Dakotas. 11-4, 5-3 in the Missouri Valley. And the Jackrabbits advanced to at least the national semifinals with 4 of their last 5 seasons. Number 5, Sam Houston State, 11-1, 6-0 in the AQ7 conference. The Bearcats captured their 1-year AQ7 title, had a 22-game winning streak in the quarterfinals. Number 6, what a great stadium, Montana, the Grizzlies. They were 10-3 on the season, 6-2 in the Big Sky Conference, and they returned to the prominence continued under head coach Bobby Hawk, including the end of a 4-game loser streak against arch rival Montana State. Number 7, Eastern Washington. They were 10-3, 6-2 in the Big Sky Conference, and that's a good football team up in the state of Washington. When you think about this program, they're a small program over in Washington. We think about Washington and Washington State, but this team in Eastern Washington, they have the Walter Payton Award recipient, surpassed 500 passing yards 4 times this season, including an FCS playoff record 530 yards against Montana. Number 8, Villanova. They are 10-3, finished 7-1 in the CAA conference. What a great program in Villanova, mostly known for their basketball. And that's a program, that's a basketball school, but they have a good football program too. I'm going to finish off at number 10 in the rankings all over the country. Sacramento State Hornets finished 9-3. They were a perfect 8-0 in the Big Sky Conference after posting a perfect Big Sky Conference record under head coach Troy Taylor, the conference champion. It came up empty in the playoffs as a number 4 seed, and they lost that to South Dakota State. But when you think about Sacramento State, they were able throughout the regular season to beat Eastern Washington. They beat Montana on the road. They also beat Montana State, and they were able to get into the playoffs as a number 4 seed, but they fell at home. All's fair and level war. But I want to say for the FCS, give them all. I mean, you got to really tip the cat to these kids that play at the level that doesn't get as much television coverage, but they should. But they do everything right. I want to say, give them all some praise as the FCS champions. North Dakota State by 38-10 over Montana State. Going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. Going to come back and talk more about some football. In the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back on the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 20 podcast applications all over the universe, and then 4 TV applications. Really do appreciate that. As we rise and shine, as we say, let's get ready to rumble. The segment also sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% on its game. Sports fans, when you're watching the big game tonight, you want to eat that Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with all this exotic meat. You know, an elephant and a bulldog are exotic meats. I can't tell you what to eat, but if you're hungry, you gotta eat. When you're hungry, you gotta eat. Elephant or bulldog, what's in the menu? Oh man, don't get mad at me. I didn't eat nobody's dog or nobody's elephant. But I want to say tonight's college football national championship, it's a really an SEC preview of what people have known over the last couple of years. The SEC plays a lot of good football over the years. Nick Saban, what can you say about him? He's just an amazing head coach, and I really think that when you look at the betting ahead of the kickoff, Georgia 2.5-point favorite, right where the line opened. The Bulldogs were 6.5-point favorite in the SEC title game, and they lost 41-17. So I'm still wondering, they were trying to find some people to figure out who's going to bet on this game. You lost by 24 points in the first game, if my math is right. No, that's not true. They lost by 17 points in the first game. But really, they were down 24 because Georgia got a late touchdown. So when you think about MGM, how do they take the voting public and say, don't believe what you just saw? They keep saying, well, Georgia learned a lot about what happened when they got beat down 41-24. Well, so did Alabama. You think about that. The total is 52.5. The most of the bets, 68% of the money, 79% are on the over. These teams combined to score 71 points over a month ago, and Alabama got 41 of those 71. So Alabama's on track to be an underdog for the 4th time since the start of 2009, and the Tide won each of the previous 3 games, including 2 matchups against Georgia. So for Las Vegas to win, they can't tell you that you just saw a 41-24 beatdown of the same players. Alabama reloads every year, and Nick Saban is looking for championship number 8. And when you think about what he's done over the years. No one's like him. When I think about Bryce Young became the first Alabama quarterback and fourth Crimson Tide player overall to win the Heisman Trophy. And each of the previous 3 Alabama Heisman winners also won the national championships that season. Devontae Smith, 2020, touchdown Derrick Henry, 2015, and running back Mark Ingram, 2009. So I think if you just look at this, it's about national championship Alabama versus you got to have a narration about the Georgia Faithful. They haven't won since back in the 80s. But I saw the same game that you saw. And I've talked to point spreaders and bookies too. Unless some shenanigans go on in this game. And, sports is sports. Las Vegas is in business to make money. They won a lot of money by having people bet that Georgia would win by 6.5 points in the first game. Okay? Because a lot of people on national TV outside of Big C Sports, they were saying that Georgia was going to win. And they got blasted. 41-24. It was really 41-17 outside of a late score. So even if both teams have a little bit of correction in their game tonight, Bryce Young threw for over 400 yards against that defense because they're not a good pass defense. They're good against the run. Alabama spreads you out. They're not just in the pocket. Bryce Young's a magician. He's like Russell Wilson. So even if it's not a 41-24 beat down like last time, I still see Alabama 35-24, somewhere in there. 35-21. I just see it that way. But it's all fair and level war. May the best team win. It's about the SEC anyway. Give them all some praise for getting there. It's been a long, long road and a tough time to get there, getting through COVID, getting through all the things. And then even some people have to walk from the south to get to Indianapolis. Isn't that something? All fair and level war. We're going to take what's called the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. When I come back, we're going to talk about some NFL football. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back on the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 20 podcast applications all over the universe. And 4 TV applications. Really do appreciate that. Let's get ready for some football! Can you believe what happened yesterday? Buffalo Bills 27, New York Jets 10. Season's over for the Jets. Buffalo Bills getting ready for their playoff run. We also have so Buffalo finished 11-6, and the Jets go to 4-13. The Saints with a 30-20 win over the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta finishes at 7-10. The Saints go to 9-8. And then the Patriots with a 33-24 loss to the Dolphins, and it cost Brian Flores his job. They go to 9-8. The Patriots in the playoffs at 10-7. The Seattle Seahawks with a 38-30 win over the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are in the playoffs at 11-6. Seattle goes to 7-10, and they go home. And then you have the Carolina Panthers. They decided that they had a game that they were going to try to hang around there. They tried to hang on and hang tough as much as they could until the kickoff happened. The Panthers 41-17 to the Buccaneers. Tom Brady got Gronk some more money by making sure he got his yardage and another catch. And the Buccaneers, defending Super Bowl champions, go to 13-4. The Panthers fall to 5-12. And then bang, bang, Niner game in overtime. The San Francisco 49ers with a 27-24 win over the Los Angeles Rams. And you would have thought it was Levi North or Levi South because the crowd was like pretty much 49er fans is what it seemed like yesterday. They went down to Southern California and really showed out, and I think they outshout the fans of beautiful SoFi Center for the Rams. It was a great game, overtime win, 27-24. The Niners go to 10-7. The Rams fall to 12-5, even though the Rams win the NFC West. The Chargers, what a game. Touchdown Justin Herbert's the real deal. 35-32 overtime loss to the Las Vegas Raiders. The year that John Madden shines down on them, 10-7. The Raiders are in the playoffs now. They'll head to Cincinnati. And the Chargers, they are actually 9-8. They could have been in the playoffs along with the Raiders had the Raiders just missed that field goal. But they decided they were not going to be that nice. Could you imagine the Raiders could have got them in, but they decided not to be that nice. You had the Steelers 16-13 overtime win for Big Ben over the Ravens. Ravens fall to 8-9. The Steelers go to 9-7-1. Mike Tomlin will not have a losing season, but they most likely will come to an end when they go up to Kansas City. I'll talk about the preview of the playoffs coming up in just a moment. Cincinnati Bengals, they fell at home to the Cleveland Browns. In fact, it was on the road at the Browns. The Cleveland Browns 21-16. They go to 8-9 on the season. The Bengals fall to 10-7. And the Washington football team, they finished 7-10 on the season with a 22-7 win over the New York Giants, who finished at 4-13. And then the final for the Vikings, 31-17 over the Bears. The Vikings go to 8-9 on the season. The Bears fall to 6-11. And can you believe the Indianapolis Colts in the Big C Burger game? They lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars 26-11. The Jaguars are 3-14 on the season. The Colts needed a win for the playoffs. They finished 9-8 on the season. Wow. Cincinnati, and you think about Cincinnati and Cleveland, thought the Bengals would have won that game. They didn't have to. But really surprised that the Colts would lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. You have the Green Bay Packers. They mailed it in, also trying to rest their starters. They lost to the Lions 37-30. Detroit goes to 3-13-1. They're going to be a pretty decent team next year, actually. And the Packers are 13-4, but they're going to win their division. They get the number 1 seed in the NFC. And we also have the Tennessee Titans holding on by the skin of their teeth with a 28-25 victory over the Houston Texans. Texans fall to 4-13, and the Titans go up to 12-5 on the season. All's fair in love and war. Just a lot of great things happening in NFL football. I know that everybody has their own thoughts about who's going to play where, and then the playoffs are going to be phenomenal. A lot of people were not in for this 17-game regular season, but I like it. I like it because, especially on the West Coast, you had the final playoff seeding decided just in overtime on the West Coast with the Raiders and the Chargers. And then you also had the 49ers and the Rams, which is one of the better football games I've ever seen. Just amazing how if they are smart enough, if Kyle Shanahan is as smart as he can be when they run the ball, their formula, you get the ball 35 to 40 times on the ground, it opens up their passing game for short passes. They don't have to throw 40 yards downfield. Just dink and dunk 10, 15-yard passes. And Deebo Samuels might be the team MVP because he scored touchdowns receiving, rushing, and passing. He's a do-it-all. When you hit him, he's like a fullback, but he runs like a wide receiver. It's just an amazing game. The Rams can be run on. Their defense was just beaten up by the 49ers offensive line. They were up 17-0. You can't hold a 17-0 lead at home. And the Niners come back because they decided to run the ball. In fact, when Deebo Samuel had the touchdown pass, they had run the ball every play except for then. If you can't stop it, keep doing it. There was a couple of times I thought they got away from it. Jimmy G threw a pick right near the goal line. And that was a play where they could have just run the ball again and kicked the field goal. But it's all fair and love and war. Hopefully they'll learn their lesson going into Dallas, which Dallas has a very tough defense in their division. But outside of the division, they can be had by the run. I think the Niners are going to win that game. All fair and love and war. You have the wild card picture on Saturday, January 15th. In the wild card, the Las Vegas Raiders are 10-7. They are at the Cincinnati Bengals, also 10-7. It's a 1:30 p.m. kickoff, East Coast time on NBC Sports. Now, as of now, the Bengals are favored to win, but I wouldn't put anything by the Raiders. Touchdown Derek Carr has shown that he can drive into field goal position, and if he does, then I just give him a chance. So it's amazing. The number 5 seed Las Vegas Raiders at the number 4 seed Cincinnati on NBC Sports. And I'm telling you, I know Burrow can throw the ball, but he's no better quarterback than Justin Herbert. In fact, the Chargers blew out Cincinnati. I think if there's an upset on the game, I think the Chargers were tested against the Chargers. The Chargers were able to show the Raiders what they might see in Cincinnati. If the Raiders can just run the football and not try to have a pass-happy attack, just pound the ball and throw when you have to. Don't make it a throw first, run second. Make it run first, throw second. Cincinnati might go run first. I just think if it comes down to a field goal, you know the Raiders are going to win that game on the road, especially if they're still motivated by what's going on, what happened with John Madden. Also in the AFC, we have an 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. Number 6 seed New England Patriots at the number 3 seed Buffalo Bills. It's on CBS Sports. And will Bill Belichick getting the chance to see the same team that he's seen with a third time this year in Buffalo? Can you imagine if Bill Belichick goes 1-3 against a team in their division, seeing them for the third time? I know they're on the road. I know Buffalo's loaded. But this is about Belichick. I won't say his legacy. But can they do what a lot of people think he can do, which is outcoach his opponent? I would not be surprised if New England goes into Buffalo and gets that win. It's playoffs now. It's a little bit different than when you have regular season games. And when you look at Bill Belichick, can someone outcoach him? I don't know. If it's going to be a Patriots win, it's going to be up to their defense. They have to play better defense, and they've had the ability to do it. They've done it before with a running game up in Buffalo. Can they do it again this time? I don't know it. But they have Mac Jones. Is he going to be better than Josh Allen? Probably not. But I'm looking for Belichick to come up with a way to win on the road. Buffalo's been so hyped. They got far last year. They got knocked out in the playoffs last year by Kansas City. I'm probably the only person picking New England and Belichick to go into Buffalo and win that game. I might be wrong about it, but if you're going to beat Bill Belichick, you got to beat him heads up. 2 out of 3 might be difficult. I'm just going to go the Patriots winning that game. It is a wild card game. Also, another game on NBC. Oh, my goodness. In the NFC, it's a 1 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. You have Philadelphia, number 7 seed, at number 2, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the number 2 seed. It's on Fox Sports. It's going to be a 1 o'clock kickoff East Coast time Sunday. And my goodness, the Eagles nearly beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last time. They're not going to do it this time because the league won't let them. They're not going to have Tom Brady go down in the first round. Like Bruce Willis was told by Ben Rames in Pulp Fiction, your butt goes down in the 4th round. They're not going to let Tampa Bay go down in the first round, even though Philly has a running game that can compete with these guys. I'm just telling you, they're a good team, and they can spread their wings, but they're not going to win this game because they're not going to get the calls. I'm going to go with Philadelphia playing a good game against Tampa, but they're not going to win the game. Just my opinion. All's fair in love and war. And then another big game coming up in the playoffs. It's a 4:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. It's the number 6 seed San Francisco 49ers at the number 3 seed Dallas Cowboys. It's on CBS Sports, and you can also find it on Amazon Prime and Nickelodeon, as well as Paramount. This is, to me, it's about the coaching. Shanahan has a winning formula that can run the 49ers right to Super Bowl 56. Jimmy G, short passes. You don't need to let the ball go deep and have it float. You've already seen that enough. But you have a big, nasty offensive line and a running game that cannot be stopped with Mitchell and also Deebo Samuel. No one can stop them. They can gash it. You know it's coming and you can't stop it. Whether you got Kittles or Ayuk. And if you even have a couple of plays called for Trey Lance to come in and get some run-pass option. Jimmy G is good when you don't have him throwing over 20 yards. I've been saying that for the last 3 years. Let him be who he is. Let him have short passing game and run the football. If you pound them and pound them and pound them, you can beat Dallas. Dallas has had a hard time beating teams with winning records outside of their own division. Dak Prescott will have a good game. I kind of worry about the 49ers pass defense, but they picked off Matt Stafford twice in the Dome in Los Angeles, which seemed like Levi Stadium South. It was so loud. I don't think the 49ers will have as many fans in Dallas as they had in Los Angeles, but I do think that the Rams are a better team than the Cowboys. And they went down there and went down 17-0 and punched them in the mouth because they started running the damn ball. Run the ball. Quit trying to be who you're not. You're not a passing team. Bang Bang Niner game goes into Dallas, Big D, and takes all of those cowboy hats and takes them off the shelf. And I think the 49ers, as long as they get 35 to 40 runs, they win the game. No doubt about it. The only way they lose is if they try to get into a passing matchup with Dak Prescott. That's going to get us 300 yards passing. They may even score 21 points. They may score 24. But the way the 49ers play, they can get 30 points on this Dallas Cowboy defense. And even if it takes a field goal, by goal coming down, kicking a field goal, the 49ers got their formula. Dallas does not have a running game. They just don't. They're going to have Dak passing left, Dak passing deep. They may pick him once. Dak's going to get his yards. He's a great quarterback. But they don't have a running game. Ezekiel Elliott's not good for more than 50 yards. And their run defense can be had when you just can't get off the field. They got the formula. They've done it before. and I think they'll do it again. If not, tip your hat to whoever wins that game, but I'm going with Bang Bang Natty game. In the AFC, you have 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. Number 7, Pittsburgh Steelers at number 2, Kansas City Chiefs on NBC Sports, Telemundo, and also Peacock. When I think about this team, the Kansas City Chiefs are a tough out. They've been to the Super Bowl the last 2 years, could have been the last 3 years. And I just know that they're an amazing team. Touchdown Patrick Mahomes, he's the real deal. Even though they were had by Cincinnati, they let them off the hook. They were up by double digits twice at Cincinnati, and they just kind of let up, and Cincinnati came back and won that game. But this is a team in Kansas City. They've battle-tested. They've been there before. They have Big Ben coming in with Mike Tomlin. Najee Harris will get his yards on the ground. But Big Ben, it won't come down to a field goal in this game. This one might be a swan song. In fact, I'm pretty sure it will be in this playoff game coming up, because it just doesn't make any sense that Kansas City is such a good team. They're not going to let an aging quarterback who's not very mobile get into their grill and try to beat them by kicking a late field goal later in the game. I just don't see that happening. I'm going to go Big Ben. No one thought you would get this far with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you've done it. And now that they've done it, you just got to tip your cap to them. But I think that comes to an end in Kansas City over the weekend. Going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs winning that game at home. It's all fair and love and war. And then the NFL is doing something also interesting. We have a Monday night game on January 17th. It's an 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on ESPN, ABC, ESPN2, and ESPN+, plus ESPN Deportes. Number 5 Arizona Cardinals at the number 4 Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to tell you this. The Rams better win this game, because they gave up the house just to get Matthew Stafford, who became what he's become. He's going to throw at least a pick in this game, maybe 2, because that's just what he does. He has happy feet, and he tries to force the ball downfield when he has a short passing game that works, but he wants to be the yardage leader. So he trying to force the ball downfield is going to cost him. I think the Rams will bounce back and beat Arizona, because Kyler Murray is kind of banged up, even though they may not say that. And the Rams, I'm telling you, they've already beaten Arizona on the road. They lost to Arizona at home. But they have their ego bruised by the 49ers. They just have the ego bruise. But Kyler Murray against Stafford, I think the way I think, I'm kind of cynical. I think the league will want to get Matthew Stafford past the first round so they can say his first playoff win. And Kyler Murray's still a young man. And I think if you got Aaron Donald, Von Miller, them good old boys, Ramsey in the backfield, Cooper Kupp's amazing. It's amazing they don't throw to him more. Odell Beckham Jr. is legit. I know the Cardinals can come in with a decent run game, but I think Murray runs out of the pocket too much against that defense. He's going to run into a couple of sacks, and I think the Rams will get that win at beautiful SoFi Center. Just my opinion. It's just so much to love about NFL football this year. I'm so excited about where the league is heading, and I'm just really appreciate what the league has done to build up a 17th week, which is really like a playoff. It was like watching a playoff game just yesterday. And everybody that loves NFL football, you know that this time of the year, the best players will rise and shine, as they always tend to rise and shine. I really love it. It made me want to just follow so many games down to the wire, even the games where they didn't have much to play for. Could you imagine the Steelers watching the Raiders in the Charger game, wondering if they're going to kick a field goal, if they're going to make it or miss it? It could have been a wide right left, but it wasn't. For the first time in NFL history, teams compete in a 17 regular season game, and most of the action took place. It was amazing because it had playoffs on the line. There'll be no Thursday night football or Monday night football this week, but they'll have a Monday night football next week going on for the playoffs. I really think about it. This was just an amazing football season. The Chargers and Raiders are the last Sunday night game of the season. The game was heavy playoff implications. The Raiders came out on top, and it was amazing because they needed that to happen. And the Raiders also had a chance to make the playoffs because the Colts lost. Isn't that something? And the Steelers had a chance to get in because the Colts lost, and because the Chargers lost, and because it wasn't a tie. It's just amazing football. It's amazing football, and I love the way it came down to the wire, because that's what football is all about. We want to see more of this. it's hard to say that we should have less football. I want to see players stay healthy, but that's just part of what happens in a series of football. It's a tough game. It's a physical game. But I know as much as anybody else, when you think about what happened this year with the NFL football teams, it's must-see football. I don't think anyone was tired of watching football. Not me. Even if you don't like it, the bettors love it. They love it because it went right down to the wire. 2 overtime games with the Raiders and Chargers and the 49ers and Rams. I think it was absolutely amazing. It's what I love watching football for. It's the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. So I've covered the teams that are going to be playing. But just to recap, this year's NFL playoffs will feature a Monday night game for the first time ever, which will happen in the Super Wild Card weekend. The first Monday will be played on January 17th. It's going to be featured the Rams playing host to the Cardinals. And that's also sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger. And it comes with what's off the exotic meats. It's going to be the third meeting this year between the two teams. Before you get that Monday night game, you're going to see some games on Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be a jam-packed weekend for NFL football. This year's postseason kicking off in Cincinnati, where the Bengals will be hosting the Raiders on Saturday afternoon. The nightcap on Saturday is going to feature the Patriots going to Buffalo for the third time this season. Is Bill Belichick going to go 1-3 against anybody? I doubt it. So Sunday slate's going to kick off 1 o'clock p.m. East Coast time with the Eagles traveling to Tampa, taking on the defending Super Bowl champions, touchdown Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. In the middle game for Sunday is going to give us a rematch of the most storied postseason rivalries in NFL history, with the 49ers taking on Dallas at AT&T Stadium. And I think the 49ers with their run game, the formula, run the ball 35 times, you win. And we have a wild card game with the Chiefs hosting the Steelers. The Steelers will most likely see it come to an end. I'm telling you, when I go to the Raiders at Bengals, it's a rematch of a game that the Bengals won 32-13 on the road back in Week 11. It's the first time that these two teams have met in the postseason since January of 1991. Isn't that something? It's amazing what NFL's done this year. And the Raiders started Cincinnati's 31-year playoff losing streak. Isn't that something? And I think they're going to beat them again. The Patriots at the Bills. These two division rivals meeting for the third time this season. The Patriots and Bills split their season series home and home against each other. Remember, New England won at Buffalo last time. They have the formula. And then the Eagles at Tampa. What a game. The Eagles get another crack at the Buccaneers, a team that beat them 28-22 in Week 6. And after that loss, the Eagles went 7-4 over their final 11 games to earn a playoff berth. With a quarterback that he's like the Rodney Dangerfield. He gets no respect, touchdown Jalen Hurts. Not going to be an upset there because the NFL wants that to happen. The Steelers, Big Ben Roethlisberger get a chance to put off his retirement plan for another week because the Steelers won't beat Cincinnati. If there's an upset, you can never say never, but it won't be easy considering Kansas City, they blew the Steelers out 36-10 just 2 weeks ago. Kind of like what Alabama did to Georgia, but the NFL won't make the Steelers a 2.5-point favorite the way they do for college fans. And then I want to bring it to this game that I had so much intrigue. The 49ers, it would be a rematch of the most storied rivalry in NFL playoff history. These two teams have met 7 times in the playoffs. This will mark their first postseason meeting since the 1994 season, which is also the last time the 49ers won the Super Bowl. I picked the 49ers to get to the Super Bowl earlier this year because I thought they'd run the ball more than they were doing. Kyle Shanahan sometimes forgets what lost them the Super Bowl against the Patriots. They were up 28-3. He decided to throw the ball. Quit throwing the ball. Run it. It's not that heavy. You see the formula. Do they have the discipline to stick to it? That's just the only key in my opinion. They're a team that can go down 2 touchdowns on a field goal and come back and win. Don't go down 2 touchdowns on a field goal this time. But if they run the ball 35 times, they're going to win the game. Just that simple. The Cardinals and the Rams, the two division rivals, will meet for the third time this season. The Cardinals and Rams split their season series with the home team losing each time. But I think the Rams, the home team, will win it this time. Matthew Stafford's going to throw his pick. But I think the Rams defense will play better against Kyler Murray because he takes too many chances. He gets out of the pocket. He'll run into a sack or two on his own. And that's just the way it is because that's how football is. And sometimes when you when you have a habit of doing what got you there, they're going to keep that habit. But that habit against the Rams defense might cost them in the long run. Well, you ready for the football? Let's get ready to rumble! You're going to see some teams rumbling. Going to see them rumbling. I love NFL football. It's amazing, and I know you love it too. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to close out with some NFL. I did the NFL, did some college football, and I'm going to touch on the NBA schedule tonight. Golden State Warriors, obviously, with a win over Cleveland. Klay Thompson came back. The crowd was very loving at Chase Center. And Klay Thompson coming out, dropping 17 points. Had a thunderous dunk that brought the crowd to their feet also. He only played 20 minutes, had 17 points in 20 minutes, almost a point per minute. Isn't that something? That tells you how good Golden State is. You can bring a guy in that hasn't played in 2 years, and he dropped 17 points in just 20 minutes. He was on pace for 34 points, if you think about it. In a 48-minute game, they're not going to play the whole time. But tonight, Monday, January 10th, defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks, they're at Charlotte. The game's already underway on NBC TV, tipped off. Utah Jazz at Detroit, already tipped off. Indiana at Boston, they've already tipped off. San Antonio Spurs at the New York Knicks, that game is already tipped off in New York. Philadelphia at Houston tonight. These games are just great games for NBA basketball, but it's a football world right now. Cleveland at the Sacramento Kings at beautiful Golden One Center, Northern California. And Brooklyn's up in the great Pacific Northwest, taking on the Portland Trail Blazers. And what I love about the NBA basketball, you know, there's so much to love about sports right now. Football is like an addiction. A lot of people are addicted to sports, whether it's college football or NFL football. NBA basketball is amazing, but there's something about the NFL that trumps everything. But I still know that NBA is going to have their time after Super Bowl 56 is over in Southern California coming up in just next month. So why is the NBA so exciting? The NBA is about players, whether it's Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie Irving's back, you have Harden doing his thing, and then Golden State with Steph Curry gets his Splash Brother back, and it's just amazing. Van Vliet doing his thing up in Toronto. Thompson had an amazing return for the Golden State Warriors. It's about a player's game. And when I think about it, 2 years being away, Klay Thompson, a special moment being in the Warriors lineup, the smile was like ear to ear. He had plenty of reasons to show a lot of joy. 2.5 years, actually, from an ACL on his left knee and an Achilles tendon in his right leg. The great Splash Brother Klay Thompson played an NBA game again. The Warriors had a 96-82 win against the Cleveland Cavaliers Sunday at beautiful Chase Center that was rocking like it was the old Oracle Arena over in Oakland. But when you think about what Thompson did, he also just brought a lot of hope back to any player that's been through injury. In 941 days, he hadn't played. Isn't that something? It was June 13th, 2019 when he tore his ACL in his left knee against the Toronto Raptors in the Game 6 loss in the finals. He had 17 points. He shot 7 of 18 from the field. He was 3 of 8 from three-point range, along with 3 fouls and 2 turnovers, and a block in nearly just 20 minutes. There are some guys that play 36 minutes and don't get 17 points. He did it in 20 minutes. So they're going to rest him and get him back into the flow of things. He knows it won't be easy to just come back and play full strength, but he's fought through the pain. He's fought through all the conditioning that it takes to just be as great as he can be. And that's what I love about Golden State. And Coach Kerr it's like there's gold in them there hills in San Francisco with the Giants, what they did in the playoffs. Had the best record in Major League Baseball, 107 wins. Lost to the Dodgers in a one-game playoff, which I thought was a shame for Major League Baseball to let the team with the best record in Major League Baseball have to play a play-in game in a playoff. But when you think about the Bay Area, what has been with Golden State being the best team in NBA basketball, at least right now, the 49ers being arguably the best team in the NFC West, even though that conference is won, by the Rams. You just saw the Niners beat the Rams up in their own backyard. They beat them up when they came up to San Francisco, Santa Clara, and beat them up again in Los Angeles. Not only did they beat them up, the fans were louder than the Rams fans. That's how passionate people are about football in their hills in California, Northern California. And what the Giants did, and now Golden State doing their thing. Will the San Jose Sharks ever step up? Dun, 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 dun. There's sharks in them there waters, if that makes sense. But just appreciating what he was able to do, coming back, and just giving a lot of people hope. Thompson said that he's been through the highs and the lows of his life and his career, losing Game 7, a record-setting season, winning 3 championships. They've done a lot of things together. He and his Splash brother, Steph Curry. The crowd was just amazing at beautiful Chase Center. So I love what technology does for players and giving people hope that an injury doesn't mean it's over. It's all fair and level war. We'll see what happens tonight in the National Championship football game. Are you ready for the football? Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Houdini Brown. He was known as the Muhammad Ali's right hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young man, rumble. With all you got to use, how can you lose? All of us say, I'm so pretty. I float like a butterfly because I eat all these big cheeseburgers. They make me light on my feet. That's why I can't be beat. I'm so pretty. It's all fair, love, and war. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. You know, any man, woman, or child going to that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help. Because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go to that garbage on their own. As we always tell you on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.